Salam, man la Youssou Ndour. Saa ma ñëwee Gambia Africell laay jëfandikoo mooy jokkoo bi nga xam ne moom laay am ak nit ñi te li ci gën a neexati moom mooy 4G bi dafa ñëw day tax mu gën a gaaw fépp kon nag da ngeen use Africell 4G bi gaaw na lool xoolal.
Interesting. When I actually came here, there was no official car for the MD. The first thing Mr. Graham told me was that after a while in here, the MD is entitled to purchase the car. And his car that he was using had done over 6 years, and he was entitled to purchase it, and he purchased the car. So when I was coming, he actually purchased the car. There was no official car for the MD. And the office had actually started processing buying the car. So when I came, my very first week working here, I didn't have a car. I was using my own personal car to come to office. And 3 months after, they were using one of the utility cars to drop me home, and then the driver goes with the car and then comes in the morning and pick me up and bring me to the office. And that went on for about 3 months or so before the office car that was ordered before my arrival was delivered. So it's an interesting allegation, but it's baseless. Well, I can't comment on Mr. Graham's going. That wasn't my decision. As to being selfish and greedy, I don't know what they mean. If I was greedy, I would. Since the beginning of this year, for example, I have never traveled, not because there wasn't traveling opportunities, but I felt every single opportunity did not add any value to Social Security, and I turned them down. Now, if I was greedy, I probably would have traveled to put the per diems in my pocket, but I didn't because they were of no value to me. If I was greedy, when I came here, the very first thing I was told was that as the MD, I am entitled to a utility car. And I have told them, I don't need a utility car. I don't have kids who are doing school runs. My wife has a car and she can drive. And she's driving her own car. I don't know where that 4.5 million comes from. As far as I know, finance, if you look at, she is in finance department. In finance, their job is doing accounting. There isn't a single, there is no one person in that department who is professionally qualified. Not one. We have so many degree holders in this institution. But in finance, we don't even have a professionally qualified accountant in core finance. Our scheme of service says, before, even if you look at the head of finance, our scheme of service said before you can even be a head of finance, you have to have either an ACCA qualification or a CIMA qualification. So number one, so bench strength in that department is extremely weak. We don't have it. We don't have any professionally qualified people. There are a number of people there who we should train. And if they show interest and motivation, we will train because it is critical that we build capacity in that department. We are, after all, a financial institution. We have to be able to get our information on time so that we can make the right decision. But right now, we cannot do that. Now, if we come back to Aisha, let's look at other people who are in that department. There's so many people in that department who have been sponsored to do the ACCA. They have either abandoned the courses because they felt it was difficult, or some of them have converted and gone and do an academic qualification. In the case of Aisha, without us providing her any financial support or providing her any time, she on her own had studied and completed the CAT level and also the foundation stage of ACCA. And she is currently at the professional stage of the ACCA on her own, without our motivation. So that is somebody who is motivated to learn, is somebody who wanted to learn. There isn't anybody in that finance department who has a qualification to her level, not a single person, except for one guy who is Alassane Toure, who is on the final level of his ACCA, but he's somebody we have sponsored all the way to Canada and spent so many years in Canada, but he still has one more paper to do. And he came back a couple of years. I don't think it's prudent or makes sense for us to send him again to go and do one paper. Now, Aisha, we've sent her to Ghana. But it's not only Aisha. I know people are only talking about Aisha, but we actually agreed to sponsor two people, Pa Yusuf Gay and Aisha Bayo. But clearly the focus and concentration for the people who this is their agenda seems to be only on Aisha Bayo. Now, Aisha, I didn't handpick Aisha and send her for training. Aisha was actually recommended from finance department. Aisha and Pa Yusuf were recommended by the deputy finance head and endorsed by the head of finance for sponsorship. And based on that, and based on what I have explained to you as to her status, we offered her sponsorship. Now, I don't know where 4.5 million is coming from, because 4.5 million is probably the cost that we will spend on the two of them for their entire 3 years of study. And that is inclusive of the salary we will be paying them whilst they are away for 3 years. But you see, I think we also need to understand, I agree to this because strategically we have to do this. Now, if you look at it, we do not have, our pay scale is not easy to attract people into this institution. In this entire corporation, there are only 3 people with ACCA or any professionally accountant, professional accountant. There's only 3 people. 2 of them came with the qualification, and that includes me. The only one that this company has ever trained is the one guy who works in the investment department. He's the only person they've trained. Now, if we find difficult to attract, how else can we retain talent? We can retain talent by either, we could have trained her here. You could ask me, but why not train her here? We could have done that. But if we do, we would not be able to bond her. If we don't bond her, if she comes, she can walk away. If we send and spend this money, this is an investment. If we spend this money, we will bond her, so she will actually be here. Him and her and Pa Yusuf will be here working for us for at least a minimum of 4 years or so to deliver service to the institution, which is what we need. We have a human capacity problem in this institution. We have a sick organization, and we need to do whatever it takes to make it run. But clearly there are people here with an agenda who want the status quo to remain, and the status quo is not good for this company. It will only break this company. Now, people will go on, but that's the cost. There was a mobile phone that was bought. There's no doubt about that. But it is a practice that this organization buys mobile phone for people. I didn't buy a mobile phone. This company is not buying me a mobile phone because I couldn't buy a mobile phone. I have bought mobile phones. I have kids who are being trained, who are being paid from my pocket. I have had mobile phones many, many times before I joined this corporation. Even when I was coming into this corporation, I was here with my own mobile phone. It is a standard practice here that the company buys mobile phones from the MD level right through to a senior manager level. So I'm not doing anything which is out of the ordinary. Yeah, I know people are saying that because unfortunately, we have pensioners' money to run. We have an institution right now that for every $C that people contribute here for their pension, we are spending 75 bottles of that on ourselves. That's not sustainable. So for the last 6 years or so, we've not been able to give any single pensioner an increase in salary. For the guys who are on the Provident Fund who really have a savings account here, we have been giving them interest returns of 0.19% and 0.50%. And 2016, we probably will give them 0% increase. Now, why are we doing that? Because, yes, there is pressure. People talk about what the former regime has taken, and that certainly has contributed to our problem. But it's also because we have too much money that we are spending on ourselves. Now, clearly, when you restrict those kind of things, people will start telling you you're heartless. But this is not my money. You cannot be generous with something that does not belong to you. My job is to protect the money that is here for the people who are depending on that money when they retire. That is my job, and that is the job of everybody, or that should be the job of everybody else who is in this institution. And I think if we all focus on that, we will do the pensioners a great deal of good. But this thing about being heartless is because people will want loans. We here have staff loans of about $130 million. That's about $4 million. And I can tell you, you can investigate yourself. If you look at what the private sector, banks, for example, and you look at the other parastatals, I would not be surprised if our portfolio is more than the combined total of all of those institutions. This is not our money. Because we see money coming in, these are contributions, these are people depositing their monies with us. It doesn't mean we are generating profits. For the last 2016, for example, every single fund in this company made a loss. This is not our money. We cannot be over generous. Yes, we have to motivate people. We have to do our very best to motivate people because people have to be motivated to push this organization forward. But for goodness sake, we cannot be wasteful. We cannot be wasteful. And I get it. And I get it. Some people were benefiting significantly. So really trying to tighten anything, people will cry foul. People will say, you're wicked. I get that. Jamal, yes, he is working. He has a contract for 6 months. We have a fundamental need to move our systems ahead. Now, the rules say you can appoint somebody on a 6-month contract, and we've appointed him on a 6-month contract. And if you ask people who are genuine, because Jamal has expertise in rolling out systems in a number of countries outside of this country. And I know that for a fact. He has done it. Now, we have run a system here before. And right now, I tell you, we are struggling with that system. We don't want to repeat the same problem again. And it is urgent that we have a system in place. We cannot even produce statements on time for people. When people come for their retirement money, we take 6 months, and sometimes it can go to 9 months before we even compute what we owe you. We have data quality problem with our issues here. We need to deal with those things, and we need to deal with them urgently. We don't have the luxury of trying to go around. Jamal has got proven track record and proven expertise. I know people keep saying he's my friend. Yes, I know Jamal, but we are not friends. We are not close friends or not, but I know him. I know him. But there is nothing, everything I do is above board. I have nothing underneath the table. Absolutely not. I have been dealing with things that are certainly, if not the same size, but not significantly lower than here. But whether one is fit or not fit is a personal opinion. I mean, there are people who are out there to smear my character, my image, and they will say anything for their personal benefit. But what I do know, for the last few months I have been here, performance is significantly better than it was before. Now, but it's up to people to judge that. I think there will be some people here who will tell you he is absolutely good to run this place. But, those are individual opinions. There's really not much I can comment on what somebody thinks. Yeah, the only thing I want to add is really, we Gambians, if we want this country to move ahead, we have to agree that there will be some very difficult choices we have to take. And along the way, a lot of people will feel offended. A lot of people will do allegations as they want. But as far as I'm concerned, so long as my conscience is clear, and so long as I know I am doing it in the best interest of the nation, and I'm doing it in the best interest of the pensioners, I will forge ahead with that. Now, certainly it will be painful along the long, and I am human, I can get that. But we need to work together. I think it is better to work together. In fact, today I am trying to organize a staff forum so that I give everybody the opportunity who feels there's something, open it. I mean, I don't have anything, I don't have an agenda. My things are on the table. I'm organizing a forum so people can come in, ask whatever it is they want to ask. We'll clarify. The sponsorships is not, it started from the finance department to me. So everything I do here, I consult. I'm very consultative. That's what I do, But saying things deliberately just simply because you want to smear image is not going to take this country forward. It will not. So I think I can talk a lot more about this institution and the issues and the challenges this institution is facing as a corporation. And if we don't stand firm, we will have a situation in the next 10 to 15 years. That's how terrible we are. But I will leave it at that.
Hi, I'm Manjang, and I'm in Bakoto right now. I always choose Africell's 4G network because it has the widest coverage and the fastest speeds. Let me show you why I always choose Africell's 4G. I have two phones. One with the 4G SIM card from Africell with the 4G network. The other 4G SIM card from another network. Let's do a speed test and see the difference. Wow, I'm getting full coverage from Africell with speeds of 69.68 megabytes per second. The other network, 3.35 megabytes. This is just proof that Africell has the widest coverage and the fastest speed. By far the fastest.
Hurry now and go replace your Africell SIM cards with the real 4G SIM card.
Where Africell goes, no one has the speed to follow.